Hello, welcome to Stephen Speak the podcast. This week's episode is about my love for the Philadelphia Eagles, the American football team, or just football as it is for me. I don't call football or soccer. It's just football is American football to me. Anyway, and my connection with Philadelphia. So yeah, let's get into it. Welcome to Stephen Speak the podcast. Unscripted prattle on everything and nothing. Okay, so as I say, this week's episode is about Philadelphia and my support of the Philadelphia Eagles. So I came to support the Philadelphia Eagles, I think, because of my weird, I don't know, like longing and fascination with Philadelphia in general. I had never visited Philadelphia when I was younger. I have, and I'll go into that. I have now. I did that in 2015. I'll go into that shortly. But when I started to actually support the Philadelphia Eagles, I'd never been to Philadelphia. But the reason I picked Philadelphia as a team was probably because I had some sort of weird connection to the city. I always felt like it's one of the places I'd always wanted to visit in America. Probably the only place really. Like everyone wants to visit Hollywood and LA and stuff. But like if you could say right, pick one place in the United States, it would have been Philadelphia, hands down for me every time. Even though I'd love to go to New York and a few other places, but Philadelphia was the place for me. And I don't truly know where it came from. I think just seeing it in films and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and stuff like that. The history of the place, and I don't really know. It's always just somewhere that's been in my brain. And when I decided to support an NFL, get my teeth back in. When I decided to support an NFL team, I chose the Philadelphia Eagles because it was firstly like a city that like had some sort of connection to me for some reason, as I've said, and also because it's really the first memory of an NFL team as well. My brother used to collect like key rings and stuff like that, and I remember he used to collect the NFL ones as well. For some reason, I don't know why, because he's not really an American football person. And as younger brothers do, they admire their older brothers for the shit that they have. And I was no different. My brother was older than me and always had the coolest stuff, and I always wanted what he had. So I used to admire him. And I think to shut me up one day, he gave me one of these NFL these NFL key rings, and he had like a duplicate of a Philadelphia Eagles one. So he gave that to me, and I was pretty much made up about it, and he shut me up. That was the main point of it. He shut me up, but I was made up, and I think when I started thinking I might support a team, I just thought back to that moment. I thought, all right, this is the Philadelphia Eagles, because I've always wanted to go to Philadelphia. Got this weird connection to it. This weird. I'm trying to think like of a more appropriate word, really. Like I just felt like it was like I don't know, some connection to me, some I don't know, like some affiliation to it. I don't. It's weird. I can't explain it. And that only got stronger when I went there. So that's how I became a Philadelphia Eagles fan. But how I got into the NFL in the first place was basically I came home from a night out one night. Absolutely blind drunk. Came home with a takeaway, as is common in the UK. I'm not really sure if that's what they do in in America or anywhere else around the world, but in the UK it's quite traditional to go out and get absolutely drunk as a skunk, to coin a phrase, and then just come home and just absolutely gorge yourself on cheap, disgusting food from a greasy fish and chip shop or kebab house or pizza house or something like that, and just eat, then go to sleep and hope you don't get a hangover in the morning. And I'd come home this night drunk with some sort of fast food goodness, and I had satellite TV at the time, so I had Sky Television, just like cable kind of thing, and I had the sports channels, and I literally shoved the TV on and threw the remote across the settee and started eating, and then realised that it was on an NFL game. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and Sky just started showing American football. And I had no real interest into it. I've played rugby at school, and I've watched rugby, so I didn't mind rugby. But I never really got to the understanding of why people liked the NFL. I always thought, wearing all the pads and stuff is unnecessary. Like, you get when you're watching rugby, you don't have to have all that sort of stuff on. So it never really made much sense to me. That's why you would need all that protective equipment on. Anywho, I was watching it, and I couldn't really be asked to get up and get the remote control. That's the reason I think stayed with it. So I was watching it, enjoying my food, and I actually started enjoying it. I was thinking, actually, this is actually quite exciting. Didn't really have the foggiest idea what was going on, but I found it quite exciting. And I thought, well, if you can't be asked to move and you're going to watch it, you might as well kind of try and figure out what the actual rules are. So I just quickly Googled, what is the idea of it? Because I presumed it was the same as rugby, score a try or a touchdown it is in the NFL. I just learnt the basic rules, which is get the ball more than 10 yards in a down. So you get 4 downs, and you've got to get the ball 10 yards in that 4 downs. So basically you got 4 chances to get the ball 10 yards, and if you don't, play hands over to the team. And that was it. So I was like, you know what, that's not that complex. It looks really complex, people running off the pitch, like a defense and offense. But it isn't really that complex. That's the basics of it. So I stuck with it and watched the rest of the game, went to bed at stupid o'clock in the morning, and decided to watch another game another day. So I watched a rerun of another game and enjoyed that. I can't remember who was playing in any of these games, to be honest. I remember the 49ers were in one of them, and I have no idea. I can't even recall. And but I started to enjoy it, and I thought, this is actually quite a good game. It's quite exciting when you start knowing what the idea behind it is, and what a first and 10 is, and a second and 3 is, and and I got to kind of understand some of the basic rudimental rules of it, and it was really, really intrigued me. And after about five or six games, I thought, what, I kind of am a fan now. I actually like American football. And I don't actually call it American football generally, only when I'm speaking to English people, because you say football in the UK and they think of soccer. Whereas because I like American football so much, I just call it football now, so I'm going to watch the football. But it does confuse English people and British people in general, because football is football. And they will argue otherwise, but and I can see where they're coming from. But football for me is NFL. I have been converted. So I say after about 5 or 6 games of watching, I decided, what, I think I'm a fan. I'm going to pick a team, and then that's where I harked back to having this keyring given to me by my brother to shut me up as a kid, and I thought, what, Philadelphia Eagles, I have this weird connection with, I keep saying the word connection, it's really annoying me, because I can't think of any other word to replace that, but I have this weird thing with Philadelphia. I remember that keyring, what, I'm going to support the Philadelphia Eagles, go Birds, and I didn't research any of the teams. Like, I'd watched a few games, like I'd seen the Vikings, and up to that point, it was literally like, oh, I like their team colours, like, oh, I like that purple, or like it was all the purple teams I liked, actually. I liked a lot of the purple teams, and I'd not seen the Eagles play. I knew of them, obviously, because this weird thing with Philadelphia that I have. And yeah, so I that's it. It stuck with the Eagles, and this was way back in. It's got to be like 2007, 2008, I think. So I've not been a Philly fan for a long time, and I'm quite lucky at the fact, in that short space of time we won the Super Bowl, which I'll get to in a sec. But yeah, so like back then, I started supporting the Eagles. They didn't show all the games on Sky, so I had to pick and choose what I could watch. But I used to follow it on the internet, like in graphic form. So they used to have like a maps, not a map, like a diagram of the field, and it would show you like the games progressing and pushing back and forth and what down it was, and it was like a visual like diagrammatical explanation of what was going on, rather than actually physically watching the game. So it wasn't too bad, but it's not as exciting as seeing what's going on. Or I'd watch the free NFL Red Zone, which I think was free at the time, and you could just watch that, and that basically it used to just dart around all the different games in the NFL when someone got into the red zone, which was quite good because you got to see all the touchdowns and stuff like that. And then eventually I downloaded and subscribed to the NFL Game Pass, and then I could get all the games. I could watch the Eagles live, and it was brilliant, and absolutely loved it. And I've been doing that ever since. The only problem with the UK is obviously I don't live in America, and when the games are on, like there's a game on today, we're 5 hours ahead. So unless it's an early start, so the game that's going to be on today is a 1 p.m. kickoff in America, so it's 6 p.m. start UK time, which isn't too bad, because the games last anywhere between 2.5, 4 hours, something like that, depending on how quick the players are doing and etc. So you're talking at least, like, I would say at least 3 hours really of your life to watch a full game, and so it's not too bad when it's on at 6 o'clock at night, because the game's probably going to be over by like 8:30 or so, maybe a bit later. But when it's like 6 o'clock their time or 8 o'clock their time, you're talking it's gonna be like a 1 a.m. kickoff, which I do tend to go bed for a few hours and then get up and watch the game. So that's dedication for you, really, isn't it? That's just how I roll. You've got to, if you support them, you support them, don't you? At the end of the day, and that's just how I see it. And I get up regularly at like bloody 1 o'clock in the morning, watch the game for 3.5 hours, and go to bed at like 4:45 in the morning, and then get up again at like 6, like 6:30, 7 o'clock for work. It's probably not good for you doing that break of sleep, but I like watching the games live. I pay for that privilege, and it's not the same when you watch it back, especially because there's so much social media and stuff at the moment. Like you get it thrust upon you, so you can't. Sometimes I choose not to see the scores on the apps and stuff. You can hide the scores. With Twitter and all that, and notifications and stuff, you bountifully let it slip through. So I just decided, I'm not gonna risk it. So a lot of the time, unless I've got something really important at work or something, I'll just get up and watch it live. Excuse me, just having a quick drink. Got a bit of a dry throat. I've been ill this week. I was ill at the start of the week. Well, the end of the previous week, and then it was all right. So I just thought it was because we turned the heating on because it's got cold in the UK. And then I fell ill over the last couple of days again. So, yeah. Anyway, so forgive me if I have to wet my whistle. So yeah, so that's me supporting the that's how I got into supporting American football and the NFL and the Philadelphia Eagles. I actually played a little bit of American football myself. Put my teeth back in today. I actually played a little bit of American football too. So back in, I'm trying to think what it would be now. Probably like 2013 or so, because I was about 30, I think. I actually played American football, not for very long, just under 2 seasons, really. And there's reasons behind that I'm not really going to go into, but it was just hard, really. The main thing was it was hard for me to fit in with my work, and I really needed to work on my fitness as well. But I think that the team weren't really that flexible to allow me on the practice squad, and it was going to be quite a lot of money for me to maybe not play a game. So I wanted to still remain on the team, but maybe be like a backup, and they were a bit really against that. It was kind of like all or nothing, which I couldn't commit to at the time. So it was a bit of a shame, really, because I super enjoyed it, and it made my love for football so much more. I was probably the shortest linebacker ever known to man. I'm 5'7.25", which the quarter makes a difference, and I will fight you if you say otherwise. But yeah, I super enjoyed my time with the Crew Railroaders. They had a team back in the 80s when kind of like they were trying to push like football into the UK, and like a league developed, and Crew were one of the first football teams to start. And then they kind of like disbanded, and then with the advent of like the NFL again doing a big push, they reformed. I think around about like 2010 or so, maybe a little after. And I joined. I was one of the first joiners after they kind of reformed. I think they've been around like a season, maybe 2 seasons when I actually signed up. But it was a good experience, but it was expensive because you had to have like insurance, you had to like subscribe to the club, and then you obviously had to buy all your kit, and it's not cheap, a helmet and all your pads, and then but it was a good experience, and like it kind of gave me like another side of the game as well. Obviously watching it, you get into it, and you can understand it, and I felt a bit more kind of like, I don't know, like an initiation really. I think that like I'd been watching it, but now I'd played it, and I felt more kind of qualified to then watch it and critique. And don't get me wrong, like I think I played one or two proper games. I was a standby because I was a rookie for a few games, and I played a load of preseason games. So my time on the pitch was limited, to be honest. In that like year and a half, 2 years of my rookie, never really got out that rookie kind of tag. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But like, that kind of gave me like an insight, and then it kind of, because that gave me like more and more passion, and I had this like obsession with Philadelphia, and now I had this obsession with the Philadelphia Eagles. It was time to go to Philadelphia. Like, let's face it, like you've got to go to the place you love. And in 2015 in the June, I just was like, sod it, I'm gonna book. I've been thinking about it for that long. I want to see the Eagles play. So I just one day I just booked to go. So I booked like 5 nights in Philadelphia, and I was booked on South Street, which leads up to the City Hall, on the corner of Locust. It's the old Hilton. It was a nice hotel. I thought, if I'm only going to go for a few nights, because I was on my own, I didn't want to go for like an extended period of time in case, I don't know, just in case I didn't like it, or like I felt scared or something like that. I mean, I'm not one of these people that's like a nervous traveller or anything like that, but going on my own for such a far away place, and to be on my own, I thought, you know what, I'll limit myself to 5 days, and I regretted it instantly as soon as I got there. I stayed at the Hilton, lovely hotel, spent hardly any time there, so it was a waste of money really. But it was good location. It was right in Center City, literally a minute's walk up to the City Hall, and it was just amazing being in Philadelphia. The first day I got there, I had a really good flight, got really early flight, so I got there, and it was like early morning still when I got there with the time difference. The first night I was there, I had a Stevie Wonder concert at the Wells Fargo Center, which is where the Flyers play, which was spectacular. Stevie Wonder was amazing, like I thought he would be. But when I arrived, I went down a little bit early, obviously, to the concert, because I thought I'd go and have some food there. So I went and had my first cheesesteak. Delicious, amazing. That was at Geno's in the Xfinity Center. And everyone says you go to Philadelphia, you try Geno's and you try Pat's. They're like the 2 famous ones. But any Philadelphia person that I spoke to was like, don't try them, they're crap. Like, you need to go to these other places. But unfortunately, I was touristy and I did the two famous ones. Yeah, and I did go to a couple of others, but there's only so many cheesesteaks you can eat in 5 days. They were delicious though. Even the Pat's and Geno's ones were nice. You can't go wrong, can you, with like steak and cheese, and I even ordered it right at Pat's. I learned how to order. There's a certain way of ordering, and I did it in my British style. Didn't have peppers though. I just wanted to have the proper steak. Didn't go for the peppers. Yeah. Anyway, but the first time I saw the Eagles Stadium, like right in front of me, seen it on TV, I've seen it in picture form. It made me emotional. It really did make me emotional, and it was just like from the moment I got to Philadelphia, to be honest, I was completely in awe. It didn't feel real. I I'm not one of these people that shies away from traveling, but I've never really done it on my own outside of the UK. Like I would get in my car or get on my motorbike, and I would travel places and just just book a hotel randomly if I thought I'll stay over here, and I would travel around the UK quite fine. But I think it's different when you're in your own country. Maybe you feel a bit more safe and secure. But traveling across traveling across the sea to a faraway land that you've never been to before, and you're on your own, it's a little bit different. I mean, my mum was absolutely terrified. But I kind of had reservations, but didn't at the same time. But I think partly of the reason I kind of restrained myself as well, and I didn't book like 2 weeks, because I was actually scared I was going to run out of money, because I was thinking to myself, like, you could probably just get in loads of debt while you're there, because you'd see so much stuff you'd want to buy. So, but yeah, while I was there, I did the Stevie Wonder concert, went to the Wells Fargo Center for that. Like, when I saw the Eagles Stadium, as I say, it was just amazing. I did the Eagles stadium tour while I was there as well. So I went over on the 7th of October, which is the day before my birthday. So we flew out on the 7th, which I think was a Wednesday, if I remember rightly. So very, very early in the morning. And I've been up for a long time that day, because I had to get up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, UK time, get to the airport, obviously do the flight, which was like 7 or 8 hours. Now, obviously, the time difference when I got there was like 5 hours before, so I technically arrived at like 9:30 in the morning or something like that their time, but I'd already been up, even though I'd already been up for like, I can't even work it out, it was ridiculous, but I didn't even go and have a nap or anything. I went and booked into the hotel, checked into my room, yeah, I went and had a little bit of an explore, had a McDonald's burger, because, when in Rome, and yeah, just found my feet a little bit, and then just chilled out, just soaked it in. And I must admit, I'd never felt more at home. Like, Philadelphia just felt like it was right for me. I walked around, and it was as if that, I don't know whether reincarnation's a thing, but I felt like I'd lived there before. It just felt so right, and seeing all the places you see in films, you know what I mean? Like the Wanamaker building, like where they, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where they filmed Mannequin. And I had to go around there and, saw the big pipe organ that they've got in there, and the eagle, and it's very famous. And seeing the City Hall, which I regret not going into. But I went to a couple of museums, then like the Natural History Museum, the Penn Museum? Which isn't an actual pen museum. And then there was one, I can't remember what it was called, and it had a bit of a strange name. I did these on my birthday. Like, my birthday treat to myself was just go and visit museums and just wander around. But I woke up in Philadelphia on the first day after the overnight and the come down from the Stevie Wonder concert. I woke up on my birthday in Philadelphia, looking out. I was quite high up in the building. I just had a brilliant view of Philadelphia, and I woke up in the morning and I was just like, I'm in Philadelphia and it's my birthday. This is the best time ever. And I actually think I lost weight while I was there, because I just walked everywhere. Like, it was just brilliant. I'll tell you what, the tourist board over there was brilliant as well. Like, Love Philly. I messaged them a few times, like asking for tips and hints and stuff like that, and told them why I was coming. And they left like a gift parcel at my hotel. They asked me what hotel I was staying at, so I told them. And they left like it was like sunglasses, pens, post-it notes, a T-shirt, and all this. Like, is it like, welcome to Philadelphia? Hope you enjoy your stay. Well, what an amazing thing to do! Like, I feel like you wouldn't get that in England. And even when I booked my Philly Flyers ticket, I couldn't book it online for some reason. Must have known I was in the UK, so I emailed them and said, like, while I'm over there, I'm coming over to see the Eagles. Massive Eagles fan. And I'd really like to take the opportunity. I've noticed the Flyers are playing their first home game while I'm there. I think it was the actual opener of the season, playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I was like, I'd really, really like... I'm pretty sure that's who they were playing. Was it? I might be wrong there, actually. Anyway, whoever they were playing, it was the opener, and I couldn't buy tickets. So I emailed them, and someone phoned me from the Philadelphia Flyers and basically said, we'll arrange for you. This is amazing that you want to come and see us on our opening game. We've arranged a ticket for you. Like, and we'll send you a link to purchase it. And I was just like, what? I thought it was a joke at first, because you get so many people doing fraudulent things. and I was just in awe, really. I couldn't believe it, and that's how I got my Philly Flyers ticket. Yeah, what an amazing experience! Like, what customer service is that? But while I was there, I spent a lot of money on Philadelphia Eagles shirts and a Flyers shirt and T-shirts in general, and just wandered the city and just felt so at home. And all these things from when I was younger, having that kind of love of Philadelphia that I don't know where it came from, just came so natural to me. Like, I was walking around the streets and people were asking me for directions. And when I spoke, obviously with a British accent, they were like, "Oh, do you not live here?" And I was like, "No." And they were like, "Oh, you look like you do." Because I must admit, I do dress, if you can dress American, I don't know. But, jeans, trainers, a hoodie, normally a baseball cap, glasses, and generally probably a Philly hat was the thing I was wearing while I was there, or a Philly top. So, some sort of Eagles top or Flyers top. So I think people were surprised when they were like, "Oh, right, you're from here." I never had any animosity at all. And the only slight bit I had was when I corrected someone in the stadium on a rule for American football, which I don't think they liked coming from a visitor to the stadium. But hey, if you don't know the rule, and I do, not my fault. Oh, sorry. Need to take another drink. There was one thing on the first night actually that when I'm on my own in a city, you've got to be careful. But also, and I'm a very great believer of this because I've had been like stereotype boxed as well for what I wear and stuff sometimes. But when I got off the subway train, I was literally the only person got off after the Stevie Wonder gig on the first day. Literally the only person that got off my stop, and my hotel was literally right on the subway stop. And as I was getting off the train, it was really weird. The station was very, very empty, massive wide open space with all these columns, tiled columns, and there was this big group of lads, just hanging out, and they were black, and it's really stereotypical. But the big group of black guys, and I was thinking, oh my god, like this is typical what you see in films, like, and that's probably where you get these perceptions. But I'm also very logical in the fact that I don't try and presume something until it happens. So I was very aware that if something happened, I was very much on my own, and there was like 15 young strapping guys. But I was also thinking, don't be such a prick, basically, as well. And I was walking along, and they said hello to me, and I said hello back, and they were like, "Oh my god, like you're not from around here." And like most people would have been like, "Oh, I'm visiting people," and blah 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 blah. I couldn't lie to them, and this might have been the biggest mistake if they'd have been different people. But I was like, "No, I'm on holiday, and I've just been to the Stevie Wonder gig," and they were like, "Oh my god," and I said, "I'm here to see the Eagles," and they were amazed. And I stood there and spoke to them for 30 to 40 minutes, about sports in Philly, the music scene. They're giving me tips on where to go, and they were just the nicest bunch of guys, just hanging out in the subway. But it just goes to show perception sometimes as well, doesn't it? And that, I think Philly can be quite, from my brief snapshot, a harsh place, and the people can be harsh, and their persona is harsh sometimes, but they all are very welcoming as well. I never had one person challenge me, never had one person, disrespect me. Everyone was really polite. Even I went into a couple of shoe shops and they were just so lovely. There was a trainer shop and the staff was so lovely. I was looking at these trainers and they were just like they were loving it. And I was in a sports bar. I think that was when I was waiting to see Stevie Wonder. And I was chatting to the barmaid, and there was a guy on a stall next to me. And we started buying each other drinks, and we were chatting about sports. And he was kind of grilling me. I think he was trying to see the level, like, you've come to see the Eagles. How much do you know? And he was just such a nice guy. And when I passed some of the tests, he loosened up a bit. But Philly's just such a passionate town, and that's what I love about it. That's just what I love. And the day came, it was a Sunday, and we were playing the Saints. And the day I walked in that stadium, and I was up in the cheap seats at the back because it was literally the only seats I could buy. But it was just so surreal, and when the music was playing and the team came out, like, I had tears in my eyes. I'm not gonna lie, and I've never really had like a sport invoke such feeling in me, or a place invoke such feeling. But I came back from Philadelphia and seeing that game, a changed person. Like, genuinely, I had some sort of epiphany while staying in Philadelphia. It's a beautiful city. I'd advise you go there. I could talk about it a lot longer, and maybe I shall return to this subject and go into a bit more detail about what I did when I was in Philadelphia. But the Eagles are my team, and that's why I went to Philly, and that's why I support Philly. Yeah, amazing. And there you go. That's my little story about the Philadelphia Eagles and the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, as they say. A wonderfully diverse and passionate city. And I think will come back to it, because I think half an hour doesn't really sum up. But thank you very much for listening, and let me know if you've been to Philadelphia. Let me know if you are from Philadelphia, and I'd be really interested to know if you have the same experience as me, and if not, why not? But on that note, I will speak to you soon. Take care of yourselves. You've been listening to Stephen Speak the podcast. Thanks for listening to my unscripted prattle on everything and nothing. Visit stephenspeak.com for updates, information, and my blog. You can follow more updates on social media at StephenSpeakPC. Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you soon.